Listen up. Right now, as you're watching this, your brain is running programs you didn't choose. Programs installed when you were a kid. Programs that might be sabotaging everything you want in life. And here's the brutal truth. Most people will live their entire lives as prisoners to thoughts they never questioned. But not you. Not after this video. Because what I'm about to show you isn't some feel-good motivation. This is neuroscience. This is the actual operating system of your mind. And once you understand these 12 rules, you'll never be the same person again. Your thoughts aren't just random noise in your head. They're literally reshaping your brain right now. Every single second. And the scary part? You're probably programming yourself for failure without even knowing it. So here's what's going to happen in the next few minutes. I'm going to break down 12 rules that will completely transform how your mind works. These aren't theories. These are mechanisms that top performers, elite athletes, and the most successful people on the planet use every single day. And by the end of this video, you'll have the exact blueprint to reprogram your mind from the ground up. But first, let me show you why this matters more than anything else you'll learn today. Rule 1. Harness self-directed neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't fixed. It's not set in stone. Right now, this very moment, your brain is changing. And here's what nobody tells you. You can control that change. Scientists call it self-directed neuroplasticity. But here's what it actually means. You can literally rewire your brain by choosing what you focus on. Not metaphorically. Literally. When you focus your attention on something specific, neurons in your brain start firing together. And there's this principle in neuroscience. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you repeat a thought, every time you practice a behavior, you're strengthening those neural pathways. You're making them permanent. Think about it like this. Right now, your brain has highways for certain thoughts. Maybe you have a massive highway for self-doubt. Maybe you have a dirt road for confidence. But here's the game changer. You can build new highways. You can create superhighways for any thought pattern you want. But it requires 4 things. Attention. You need to focus on what you want to change. Willpower. You need to make the conscious effort to think differently. Pattern interruption. You need to break the old habits. And consolidation. You need to practice the new patterns until they become automatic. Most people never do this. They let their brain run on autopilot. They let the same old thoughts create the same old results. But you're different. Because now you know. You're the architect of your own brain. Rule 2. Program your Reticular Activating System. Deep in your brainstem, there's a network called the Reticular Activating System. Your RAS. And this thing is processing 11 million bits of information every single second. But here's the catch. Only 50 bits make it to your conscious awareness. Your RAS is a filter. It decides what's important and what gets ignored. And here's the part that changes everything. You can program this filter. Ever notice how when you decide to buy a certain car, you suddenly see it everywhere? The cars were always there, but your RAS wasn't filtering for them. Now it is. This is how reality works. Your RAS shows you what you've told it to look for. If you focus on problems, your RAS will find problems everywhere. If you focus on opportunities, your RAS will spot opportunities that other people completely miss. So here's the rule. Program your RAS by consciously directing your focus toward your goals. Write them down. Visualize them. Think about them every single day. Because your RAS doesn't care if something is good or bad for you. It just filters based on what you've marked as important. Most people have their RAS programmed for fear, for obstacles, for reasons why things won't work. But when you reprogram it for possibilities, for solutions, for opportunities, the world literally looks different. Same reality, different filter, different life. Rule 3. Access Theta. Brainwaves. Your conscious mind runs your life about 5% of the time. The other 95%? That's your subconscious. And your subconscious is running programs that were installed when you were a child. Programs that might not serve you anymore. But here's the secret. You can reprogram your subconscious. And the key is theta brain waves. Theta waves operate at 4 to 8 Hz. They happen during deep relaxation, light sleep, and meditation. And when your brain is in theta, something amazing happens. Your conscious mind relaxes. Your critical filters drop, and new beliefs can be installed directly into your subconscious. This is why affirmations work best right before sleep and right when you wake up. Your brain is naturally in theta during those transitions. This is your window. This is when you can bypass all the resistance and plant new programs directly into your subconscious mind. You can also trigger theta states while you're awake through meditation, through specific breathing techniques, through binaural beats. And when you're in theta, you're not just thinking new thoughts, you're installing new operating systems. Most people try to change their lives by willpower alone. But willpower is conscious. And your conscious mind only controls 5% of your behavior. If you want real change, you need to reprogram the 95%. You need to access theta. Rule 4. Activate your glymphatic system. Here's something most people don't know. Your brain has a waste disposal system. It's called the glymphatic system, and it only turns on when you sleep. During deep sleep, the space between your brain cells increases by up to 60%. Cerebrospinal fluid floods in and washes out toxic proteins, metabolic waste, and all the junk that builds up during the day. This is how your brain detoxifies itself. But here's the problem. If you're not getting enough deep sleep, your brain can't clean itself. The toxins accumulate, your thinking gets foggy, your memory suffers, your mental performance crashes. This is why sleep isn't optional. It's not a luxury. It's the foundation of mental performance. And the quality of your sleep matters more than the quantity. The glymphatic system is most active during slow-wave delta sleep, so you need to optimize for deep sleep. Keep your room dark. Keep it cool. Avoid screens before bed. And here's something interesting. Sleeping on your left side actually improves glymphatic transport. Some research even suggests that meditation can activate glymphatic function during waking hours by reducing norepinephrine levels and creating slow-wave brain activity. So meditation isn't just about relaxation. It's about brain maintenance. If you want to master your thoughts, you need a clean brain. And that means activating your glymphatic system every single night. Rule 5. Master your default mode network. There's a network in your brain called the default mode network, your DMN. It includes your medial prefrontal cortex, your posterior cingulate cortex, and your angular gyrus. And this network activates when your mind wanders. Your DMN creates your internal narrative, your sense of self, your stories about the past and the future. And here's the problem. When your DMN is overactive, you get trapped in rumination, in self-criticism, in negative thought loops. An overactive DMN is linked to depression, anxiety, and excessive self-focus. It's that voice in your head that won't shut up. That keeps replaying the same worries, the same doubts, the same fears. But here's the solution. When you engage in focused tasks, you activate what's called the task-positive network. And this naturally suppresses your DMN. This is why flow states feel so good. Your DMN goes quiet. The self-referential chatter stops. You're just present. Mindfulness meditation trains you to observe your DMN without getting caught in it. You watch the thoughts without believing them. You create space between your thoughts and your identity. And that space is freedom. Most people are slaves to their DMN. They believe every thought that pops into their head. They identify with every story their mind tells. But when you master your DMN, you realize you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Rule 6. Engage your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex is your executive control center. It handles planning, decision-making, impulse control, and rational thinking. It's the CEO of your brain. But here's the problem. It can be hijacked. When you experience intense emotions, your amygdala can override your prefrontal cortex. This is called an amygdala hijack. Your emotional brain takes over. Your rational brain goes offline, and you react from primitive survival instincts instead of conscious choice. This is why people say things they regret when they're angry. Why they make terrible decisions when they're afraid. Why they act impulsively when they're stressed. The amygdala is faster than the prefrontal cortex. It processes emotional information before your rational brain can evaluate it. But you can strengthen the connection between your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala. You can build emotional regulation. And here's how. Pause before you react. Just a few seconds can bring your prefrontal cortex back online. Deep breathing activates your vagus nerve and calms your amygdala. Labeling your emotions engages your prefrontal cortex. When you say, "I'm feeling angry," you're activating the rational part of your brain. And cognitive reappraisal. This is where you reinterpret situations from multiple perspectives. You ask, what else could this mean? What's another way to look at this? Over time, these practices increase your prefrontal cortex's top-down control over emotional reactions. You stop being a slave to your emotions. You start responding instead of reacting. And that's when you become truly powerful. Rule 7. Cultivate interoception. Interoception is your brain's ability to sense what's happening inside your body. Your heartbeat, your breathing, muscle tension, gut sensations, and most people are completely disconnected from these signals. But here's why this matters. Emotions are embodied experiences. They don't just happen in your brain. They happen throughout your entire body. And when you develop interoceptive awareness, you can catch emotions early, before they escalate. You can feel the tension building in your shoulders before you explode in anger. You can notice your heart rate increasing before anxiety takes over. You can sense the tightness in your chest before sadness overwhelms you. This gives you power, because when you catch emotions early, you can intervene. You can breathe, you can move, you can shift your state before it shifts you. Interoception also improves decision-making. Those gut feelings? They're actually interoceptive signals. Your body is processing information that your conscious mind might miss. And when you're tuned into your body, you make better decisions. So how do you develop interoception? Body scan meditations, mindful breathing exercises, yoga, regular check-ins where you pause and notice physical sensations. This isn't woo-woo. This is mind-body integration, and it's one of the most powerful tools for mastering your thoughts. Rule 8. Master mental time travel. Your brain has a remarkable ability called mental time travel. You can project yourself backward to remember past experiences, and you can project yourself forward to imagine future scenarios. This happens in your hippocampus and medial temporal lobes. And here's what's fascinating. Remembering the past and imagining the future activate the same brain regions. They're two sides of the same coin, which means when you vividly imagine achieving your goals, your brain treats it similarly to an actual memory. This isn't wishful thinking. This is episodic future thinking. It's a brain mechanism that lets you simulate scenarios, predict outcomes, and make better decisions. And top performers use this constantly. Athletes visualize their performance before competition. Surgeons mentally rehearse procedures. CEOs imagine different business scenarios. They're not just daydreaming. They're creating neural patterns that support future action. So here's the practice. Regularly engage in detailed mental simulations of your desired future. Don't just think about the outcome. Imagine the sensory details, the emotions, the steps involved in getting there. Make it vivid. Make it real. This primes your brain to recognize opportunities. It prepares you for action. It creates a neural blueprint for success. And when the moment comes, you're ready, because you've already lived it in your mind. Rule 9. Update your internal models. Your brain operates as a prediction machine. It's constantly generating hypotheses about incoming information, and then it compares those predictions against actual sensory input. This is called predictive processing. Here's the mind-bending part. You don't see reality as it is. You see your brain's best guess about reality based on prior experiences and expectations. Your perceptions are predictions. Your thoughts are predictions. Even your emotions are predictions. When predictions match reality, your brain conserves energy. When there's a mismatch, prediction errors signal the need to update your internal models. And this is how learning happens. This is how change happens. But most people never update their models. They hold on to beliefs that were formed years ago. They see the world through outdated filters. They predict based on past experiences that no longer apply. So here's the rule. Consciously examine and update your mental models. Question your beliefs. Challenge your expectations. Ask yourself, is this prediction based on current reality or past conditioning? When you update your predictive models, you literally change what you experience. Because your brain will start predicting differently. And those new predictions become your new reality. This is why mindset work is so powerful. You're not just thinking positive thoughts. You're updating the predictive models your brain uses to interpret reality, and when those models change, everything changes. Rule 10. Automate success through habit formation. Your basal ganglia, particularly the dorsolateral striatum, converts deliberate actions into automatic habits through procedural learning. And this is one of the most powerful mechanisms in your brain. When you first learn something new, your prefrontal cortex is heavily involved. It requires conscious effort, intense focus, willpower. But with repetition, the basal ganglia gradually takes over. It creates action chunks that run automatically with minimal conscious effort. This is why new behaviors feel hard at first, but become effortless with practice. Your brain is literally transferring control from the conscious system to the automatic system, from goal-directed to habitual. And here's the strategy. Instead of relying on constant willpower, design your environment and routines to trigger positive habit loops stored in your basal ganglia. Because once behaviors become procedural memories, they require almost no conscious effort to maintain. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need willpower for that. It's automatic. And you can make any behavior automatic through the same process. Exercise, meditation, healthy eating, focused work, whatever you want. The key is consistency. Repeat the behavior in the same context until your basal ganglia encodes it as a habit loop, and then it becomes part of who you are. Not something you do, something you are. Most people fail because they try to change everything with willpower. But willpower is limited. Habits are unlimited. Build the right habits, and success becomes automatic. Rule 11. Align with your chronotype. Your chronotype is whether you're a morning person or an evening person. And this isn't just preference. It reflects deep-seated circadian rhythms that powerfully affect cognitive performance, cortical excitability, and neuroplasticity. Research shows that cognitive abilities, including working memory, attention, executive function, and learning, are significantly better when tasks align with your circadian preferred time versus non-preferred times. The mechanisms involve time-of-day variations in cortical excitability. At your circadian preferred time, increased glutamatergic facilitation improves cortical excitability and learning capacity. During non-preferred times, cortical inhibition increases through GABAergic activation. This isn't about feeling more alert. This is fundamental shifts in your brain's biochemistry and neuroplasticity that affect how efficiently you can think, learn, and perform. So here's the rule. Schedule your most cognitively demanding tasks during your chronotype optimal hours. If you're a morning person, tackle complex problems early. If you're an evening person, protect your peak performance windows later in the day. Fighting against your chronotype creates unnecessary cognitive friction. It's like trying to run uphill when you could be running downhill. Same effort, completely different results. Most people ignore their chronotype. They force themselves into schedules that work against their biology. But when you align with your natural rhythms, everything becomes easier. Your brain works with you instead of against you. Rule 12. Apply mental contrasting. Positive thinking has become popular. Visualization. Affirmations. But research by psychologist Gabriele Oettingen reveals something surprising. Mental contrasting is far more effective than positive thinking alone. Mental contrasting means simultaneously considering your desired future and the present obstacles. It's called WOOP. Wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. And it works because it creates strong neural associations between future goals and present obstacles. When you practice mental contrasting, you're priming your brain to recognize when obstacles appear and automatically activate pre-planned responses. Studies show this technique improves goal follow-through rates by 42% on average. Here's why it works better than pure optimism. Optimism alone can actually reduce effort when obstacles arise. Your brain thinks success is guaranteed, so why work hard? But mental contrasting increases energy mobilization and persistence when challenges appear. So here's the practice. Identify a meaningful wish. Visualize the best outcome. Identify the primary internal obstacle. And create an if-then plan to overcome it. This process balances aspiration with preparation. It creates both the emotional pull of desired futures and the practical readiness for inevitable obstacles. Most people either dream without planning or plan without dreaming. Mental contrasting combines both. It gives you the motivation of positive thinking with the realism of strategic planning, and that combination is unstoppable. The final truth. You've now learned 12 rules that most people will never know. Self-directed neuroplasticity gives you the power to rewire your brain. Your RAS filters reality based on your focus. Theta waves open windows to reprogram your subconscious. Your glymphatic system cleanses your brain during sleep. Your DMN creates your self-narrative. Your prefrontal cortex can override emotional hijacks. Interoception connects mind and body. Mental time travel pre-experiences futures. Predictive processing shapes perception. Your basal ganglia automates habits. Your chronotype determines peak performance windows. And mental contrasting bridges aspiration and reality. These aren't just concepts. These are the actual mechanisms that control your thoughts. And your thoughts control your life. Most people are passengers in their own minds. They let their thoughts happen to them. They react to their emotions. They follow their impulses. They live on autopilot. But you're different now. Because you understand the architecture. You know how the system works. And when you know how it works, you can reprogram it. Your thoughts don't just reflect your life. They construct it through these neural mechanisms. By understanding and deliberately engaging these systems, you shift from being a passive recipient of your mental conditioning to becoming an active architect of your mind. This is the ultimate freedom. Not control over external circumstances, but mastery over the internal processes that determine how you perceive, interpret, and respond to everything you experience. So here's your choice. You can close this video and go back to living on autopilot. Or you can start applying these rules today, right now, this moment. Because every second you wait is another second your brain is running the old programs. The programs that got you here. And if you want to get somewhere different, you need different programs. Master your thoughts by mastering these brain systems. And you truly master your life. Don't wait. Your transformation starts now.